Drinking with Authors may contain adult content. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to another episode of Drinking with Authors. I am your host, author Nick Savage, and drinking tonight I have gin in one hand and Irish breakfast tea in the other, because who the hell doesn't mix gin and tea? Just like that song by Snoop Dogg back in the day. Just kidding, that's gin and juice, and if you're too young to know that, then you shouldn't be listening to podcasts. This episode, as all episodes, brought to you by Four Horsemen Publications, so give them some love, check them out, fourhorsemenpublications.com. Joining us today is an author you're not finding on Four Horsemen Publications, at least not yet, and that is Jenna Avery, who has written the Skies of Avalon series and some other books, and I want to welcome you to the show. So welcome.
Hi, yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I mean, I love books and I love drinking, so it's a good match. It's
a perfect match, and you never know what's going to happen on this show, because I've had many different things happen, including me drinking way too much, which won't happen today, because I must control myself as I have other things to do. But you can drink as much as you want, because screw responsibilities.
I also have other things to do, but that does not stop me from my wine.
As long as you're not drinking while driving, I think we're okay. Though you are in Texas, where things happen, you know.
It's the Wild West out here. I don't know if you heard.
Yeah, no, it is the Wild West. If snowstorms happen and threaten to shut down the power grid, you just go on vacation if you're in the government. And
100%.
yeah, and if you're the governor, you just make it impossible for people to have health care, especially. Yeah, it's a fun state, very Wild West. I think Billy the Kid would be enjoying himself right now. All right, so and I see the little cats in the corner. Now we are mainly an audio channel, but for those watching, there are cats in the corner, and she has cats that are, what breed are they? Rex Devon
Rex cats. So they're hyperallergenic, which is why he has like really soft curly fur. He's not happy.
No, he's not. He's like, put me down.
Yeah, but they're really, I mean, they're great cats. They're very dog-like. They're hyperallergenic. So this is Soup, and he actually can walk on a leash. He loves going outside. He loves meeting strangers. He loves dogs. He's the antithesis of a cat.
See, when I first got harnesses for our cats, because we were going to try taking them outside, which does not happen much, they did those typical like fall over and can't move things when you put the harness on them. And yeah,
a little bit, and then really it was he wanted to go outside, and so this might sound bad, I don't know, maybe I'll get canceled, but I've been a horseback rider since I was 14, and so I used like the rule of pressure, and so to teach him to move forward, because he would just want to sit there and then like just look around. But I'm like, you literally are at the door begging to go outside. So just to teach him to walk, kind of just pulling a little bit on the leash, and then he would start taking a step forward. He'd get a treat, and eventually, he walked on the leash.
Yeah, see, we try that with our cats. They get to the grass and then just start eating it, and then they get sick from eating the grass. And so I'm just like, they don't go outside much.
Yeah.
They're also, they're indoor cats. You know what I'm saying? And outdoor cats have a lifespan of 4 years versus the 20 that indoor cats have. So I'm just like, you guys can stay indoors, especially because in Florida, there are hawks that live outside our house.
Yeah.
And hawks eat small animals, and cats, even if they're 20-pound cats, are still small animals, and we don't want them to be lunch for a hawk. So
yeah, especially depending on the size of the hawk. We have Mexican eagles here, and they're large birds.
I feel like saying Mexican eagles is like, how do you tell the difference between an American eagle and like, I just feel like there's some bad joke coming on that shouldn't ever be said. What the fuck is a Mexican eagle?
One has a white head and one doesn't. One has more orange than the other.
Okay. So there are some differences, like in terms
they look
of
like two completely different birds.
Okay, see, my brain was just going to like some like poorly worded, like, just one of those bad jokes. Like, thank you for understanding and not making me elaborate on that.
We don't call them Mexican eagles anymore. We call them Hispanic eagles.
No. It's just. Whew.
That's the actual term of them, though, I promise.
So what kind of red wine are you drinking today?
Some red blend. I don't know. I think my husband went to Costco. I think this might be like the random Spanish wine he picked up. But it's like dry, And I love a good dry red. So I don't know.
If you like good dry reds, get a Carmenere. They are a Chilean by origin, but now they come from other places, and they are spiced wines. Not spicy, but spiced.
Okay.
And, probably some of my favorite reds.
Okay. I'll have to look for that.
And much like any good wine, you can find some good ones at like $6.99 a bottles, and a lot of crappy ones, and some really good ones at like $19.99 a bottle and up. So Carmenères are some good red wines. But as we talk about every random damn thing on the planet at 5 minutes in, tell us about Skies of Avalon and starting with, the first book in the series and going from there. What's this about? Because I've read the blurb, and the blurb is fantastically written. But for those who haven't, tell us, and I'll shut up.
Yeah, so the overarching interesting story of this series. So Skies of Avalon, as of right now, is a 3-book series. I probably will write more books in the world if I want to write fantasy, and I also want to write fantasy with the world already built, and I can be lazy. But it was never intended to actually be a series. So originally I had finished my time travel fantasy, the duology, and I needed to write something new. And so I spent a few weeks kind of thinking like, okay, what kind of stories do I want to write? And I was like, I want to write fantasy. And then I was thinking, well, what kind of powers have you not seen? Like, I don't know about you, but I'm tired of shadow daddies. I'm tired of fated mates. I'm tired of like this regurgitation of romantasy. And I'm the type of person when I'm on social media, I'm always paying attention to what readers are asking for,
Yeah.
and if something resonates, I want to go with that. And I remember I saw a TikTok, months and months and months ago, and it was talking about like different types of fantasy stories that they would like to hear. And it was very much, the stories were kind of like a marriage of contemporary and fantasy. And so as I was ruminating over what story I wanted to write, I was thinking, okay, what powers have I not seen? And the first thing that I thought of was, well, glitter. I don't know about you, but I've never seen glitter as a power before.
As a power, okay. Now I know that, like in say a certain movie series, the vampires glitter, or sparkle or whatever.
Very different.
So how has glitter become a power? Let's talk about that.
I don't know. Like, how does fire become a power? Like, just apply the same suspension of belief, and there you have it. Glitter is the power.
Okay.
It's not solid. It's so the FMC Reverie, she's a Gleardite, which is a species I invented, and it's an edible biological type substance. And it doesn't have any real solidness to it. It's just pretty. And honestly, it's actually a metaphor for women's inner light. In the story, she's very subjugated for being a Gleardite. Her glitter is hated. She is hated. So it was kind of more of a metaphor in a way.
Okay.
And so I came up with that. But then I was like, okay, well, like the romance, like if she's going to be made of glitter, like what do I want it to be? And I was a wedding photographer for 14 years. And so I was like, well, I have not heard of a single wedding photographer romance out there. I've seen wedding planners, but I've never seen wedding photographers. And so then I was like, what if they just kiss? What if they marry? Like, what if I bring them together? And then one day, Reverie and Luca just appeared in my mind. The first chapter literally just appeared fully formed. So I sat down. Remember, this was September 18th. I sat down and I wrote the first chapter, and I did not stop. And I did not stop for 6 straight days until I had written the first 75,000 words in 6 days.
And for anyone wondering how you can write for 6 days straight, that's called the hyperfocus side of the ADHD, but go on.
Yeah, it turned into like a full-on ADHD mania because I wrote that. And my brain was activated. And in Glittering Skies, there are Draxies, which are dragons that are taxis. And I knew I wanted to write another romance. And I was like, my brain was like, well, what if we wrote a romance about a Draxie? And in my head, it was like this red dragon shifter. And I was like, okay. And I kind of like started thinking about it. And I was like, well, what if his wife is dead? What if his wife dies? And that's actually the first chapter. Finn's wife dies. So this book took off. It turned into like this very deep, like when I tell people about this book, I always tell them, don't read this unless you want to cry. Like this is not a feel good type of story. This is a story of like grief and trauma and like finding love after loss. I wrote that book in 8 days. And then while I was writing that book, Finn's brother Trente appears. And he just like, sometimes side characters, when I'm writing them, they literally just, it's like they pop their head around the corner and I just drag them out. And by the end of the book, he was demanding his own story. So that one took a little bit longer. Well, roll your eyes if you want, but it took me 2 weeks to come up with the idea of the story. And then I wrote Heimlock in 12 days. So I actually wrote all 3 books within 63 days. I wrote over 300,000 words, and it was insane.
So these aren't tiny books.
No, they're not tiny. So the first draft of Glittering Skies, I think was between 78,000 words. First Time Friends, I think was at 110-ish thousand.
Okay.
And then Heimlock was between 105 and 110,000 in its first draft.
Okay. That's not a small number of words to write in 63 days.
No.
That is a lot of.
I did not write anything for 6 months.
Yeah. Now, I know that there are authors out there who say write every day or this and that, and sometimes life doesn't allow you to, you know what I'm saying, for whatever reason. But writing as often as you can, I think, is the best way to do it. And then if you have like a book you're working on, you know, and you're not just marinating ideas in your head, that's when you kind of have to buckle down a bit, you know what I'm saying, and do it. But I
also think impressive. Like when people say that, where like you should write every day, it creates this idea that writing is only writing. And so when authors find themselves like languishing in the rumination phase, they feel like they're failing. And so for me, I looked at it as like, I'm literally letting my brain rest. I wrote 300,000 words in 2 months. Like that's huge.
Yeah.
And so I would write like a chapter here and there, kind of exploring a few different stories. But I took it as like a break, and I really like, if any author is watching this, please by all means understand writing is also thinking. It is daydreaming. It is allowing yourself to be lazy and bored. Like it's a whole process that does not involve creating like the written word sometimes.
It's true. I find that a lot of the times if I'm writing a story and I'm sitting in front of my computer and I get to a spot where, you know, the plot's not connecting, you know, from point A to point B, and I know that their point B needs to become point C, D, or E, and I need to fill in the, you know, and if it's not happening there, I never consider it writer's block because I know where it's going. You know, you're just figuring out the directions to get there. I'll take a walk. I'll go out in my neighborhood. I'll take a walk. I'll hop on the treadmill if it's too hot outside. And in Florida and Texas, it's almost always too hot outside. And the walking will help me think because you're not sitting in front of, you know what I'm saying, the area. And thinking is very much a part of it because I'm very much a plotter. I don't just write by the seat of my pants. Are you a plotter or pantser?
I'm a full-on pantser. Like I'll do, like, as I'm writing, I'll have ideas. One of my favorite things to do is at night I will smoke a little bit and then I will just lay there in my bed and stare at the ceiling and contemplate my story. And then I'll write down the ideas as they come. And so they're more of like guidelines of where it could go, but that is the extent of my plotting.
So when I was in high school, and I'm sharing this story, hoping my dad does not listen to this episode, I used to hang out with this buddy, Tim. We're still friends. We just live in different states. And he always had the best stuff.
Yeah.
And I was always like a one-hit wonder, like one hit, I'm done. He's sitting there doing like a whole bowl to himself.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I can't do like all of that.
Yeah. But he had this lava lamp. And it was just a lava lamp. It wasn't anything special. It was a lava lamp you get from like Spencer's. I would sit there and stare at it, just not say a word, not blink, not move, just stare at the lava lamp. But the amount of thoughts that ran through my head while watching the lava lamp. So
Yeah.
all I'm saying is if you need to think at night, get yourself a lava lamp.
I have one right there.
Oh shit, you do right behind you. Bring it into your bedroom.
I've got a seat right there. I could just like smoke a little bit, sit in the chair, stare at the lava lamp.
And watch the lava lamp, because honestly, that gave me some really cool, and I was in high school, so what I thought was cool in high school and like great existential thoughts were probably just crap regurgitated from watching, I don't know, one too many episodes of Saved by the Bell or whatever bullshit. But like at the time, I thought they were great. So just sit back and watch your lava lamp and stuff. It might inspire you. But,
I'll definitely try that next time.
And Dad, if you're watching, hey, it was all in good fun. But no. So you are a pantser, and my thoughts on pantsing aside, why don't you plot?
I've tried. I genuinely have tried. I've been writing long enough. I have a master's in creative writing. I have tried a lot of different ways. And I have ADHD and I write very instinctually. So I think part of it is the way that I see the story. When I'm in the zone, I'm actually like literally typing out a movie in my head. And so I'm literally just typing out what I'm seeing. It is just it's a movie in my brain that I'm just transferring onto the page. And like I would, like when I watch a movie, I have no control over that, and so I just let it go as much as I can. When I hit a stopping point, that's when I like stare off. I kind of think about what I want it to be. But I've tried it. Like I actually think it was Glittering Skies. I think I tried to plot like the first 10, 15 chapters. And by chapter 5, I had deviated. Like it was gone. And I had even tried it with Through the Folded Stars, which was my time travel fantasy. And I had used a book coach back then. This was back in 2021. And she was like, yeah, like write it out. I was like, yeah, it's going to be like novellas. And so I was writing out each novella, like where is she going to travel? What is she going to do? And then I started writing it. And the book coach was like, I don't know if these are going to be novellas. I was like, it's going to be a novella. I have it all planned out. It turned into a very thickum duology. It's not a novella at all. Like it completely transformed and it became the story it was meant to. So for me, in my perspective, for my stories specifically, when I try to control them, that's when I hit writer's block the most, because I'm trying to write a story that doesn't want to exist.
Okay. A little thing about that, there are actual studies done on people during the creative process, and that whole idea of you're just writing what's in your head and you can't control it is actually, there's some scientific basis to that. The way our brain functions when we're in a writing mode is very different than how we're just talking right now and everything like that. And you're not the first person to mention that and stuff like that. There's a song by an artist that I absolutely love, his music. And one of his lines is, at 3 a.m., my hand becomes possessed. I can't control it. And I was like, hi, I understand that.
Yeah.
There's scientific basis behind that.
Yeah.
So what you're experiencing is actually explainable. I can't explain it. I read the article briefly, skimmed it. I was not trying to memorize it or anything for.
I don't know if it could be like really, like when I wrote Glittering Skies, writing that in 6 days, as I was doing it, it really did feel like I was possessed. I was semi-disassociated, probably from a lack of sleep and food. My husband tried to feed me the best he could, but I was so locked in. And even to this day, like I read it and I'm like, I can't believe this came from me. Like it's so bizarre. Like I call it a divine download. Like I really feel like it came from elsewhere, How else do you come up with 3 books like that in 2 months? It's just indescribable.
when you're right, and I'm having fun talking with you because I also have, well, mine's undiagnosed, but I check all of the flags, so I don't like to say I actually have it. I make jokes about it more because of serious, you don't make jokes about something serious, but it's fucking ADHD, and who the hell doesn't have it nowadays? When you write, of the elements of a scene, whether it's the setting, the characters who take place in it, whatever, what's most important to you when writing?
The most important thing is, because I write first person almost exclusively as of right now in my career. I've written third person. I just like being in the head of my character. The connection of the characters is more important. Like with Skies of Avalon, I've had some people that actually don't really read fantasy and they really like it because my laziness with world building actually created a very approachable world for people. I don't want to worry too much about all of that extra stuff. I want my characters to have a connection, and I want my readers to have a good time while the characters explore this connection. So the reader experience is almost always there, kind of like in the back of my head. Like, what is the reader getting out of this dialogue? What is the reader getting out of this scene? How am I making the reader feel in this moment? And if I want to really kind of punch the reader in the gut, then I know I have to make the connection between the characters to get a punch in the gut, So it's kind of, it's the duality of it kind of influences every word that I write.
Very nice. Because I was reading some of the reviews, and it says that your dialogue is very well done. So I have to give props to that, because dialogue can be very tricky for a lot of people. To make the characters sound different or unique, from one another and stuff like that, and to give them their own voice. And everything, according to your reviews, is that your dialogue and your characters are very believable, which is, I think, kind of hard to do, especially in a fantasy setting where you have gargoyles and satyrs, you know what I'm saying, and all that stuff. So how do you take an animal that is clearly not real within our world and make it as believable and relatable?
That's a great question. I think anything that I did with my character. So I have Luca, who is a gargoyle, and then of course, like the world of Gondora has we've got orcs, elves, satyrs, centaurs, vampires, sprites, other ones, mermaids. All of the fantasy creatures actually exist within this world, living very much like a melting pot that floats in the sky. It's like New York City that floats in the sky and a little bit cleaner. And it really, I just imagined, like, if they existed in this world, how would they act? How would they behave? And I think that's why a lot of people appreciated these books and their approachability, is because Luca's special, because Luca has like actual clawed feet. So he doesn't get shoes, okay? So that's always really fun with the art. But then let's say that Finn or Trente, they are brothers, they're dragon shifters. They are mostly humanoid, minus their tails and their scales. And of course, they've got the fangs. And so I just really wanted it to be kind of an approachable monster romance, where people can dip their toes into monster romance without feeling weird. Some people feel weird about it, I don't know why. I love a good monster romance. But it was funny with Glittering Skies, you've got Luca, who's got the wings. That's a very easy entry right there, especially with romantasy, right? I don't think there's a romantasy reader alive that does not go, oh, wings. Okay, I get that, right?
Yeah.
But it really was the tail, Luca's tail, that I was just like, well, if he's got this prehensile tail that can like do all sorts of stuff, like what else can that tail do? And thus that is how some of the spicy scenes were written. go, what that tail do?
Yeah,
And so
that
it
is-
was like, I love writing genre benders. And so the same way I wrote characters that are kind of genre benders. They're humanoid, but monster enough that it's interesting. It's a unique take because I don't know about you. I don't know how much spice you read, but I find the average spice scene to be very boring at this point. And so I knew I wanted to write spice scenes that were very entertaining and titillating in all of the ways you could imagine. So I don't know if that really answered it. It was kind of a lot to that answer.
No. It kind of answered it in a roundabout way, so I will accept that as an answer. I myself do not read a lot of spice for fun. For work is a different story. The spice I write is not your typical spice, as I get the feeling neither is yours. Like I've read spice before, with the throbbing, bulging, veiny, you know what I'm saying? Blah, 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 shit like that. To me, it's been done to death.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with reading what you enjoy. If that's what you enjoy it. If things that have been done to death weren't around anymore, the entire porn industry would have collapsed decades ago.
True.
So clearly, people want what they like and what they know. But what I write is fairly different, kind of steamy spice, you know what I'm saying, in its own way, because describing the genitalia of men and women gets boring to me. Yeah.
That's why I threw in a little tail playing glitter cum.
Yeah, exactly.
We gotta make it unique.
Exactly. You have to make things unique. So does her glitter disappear, or is she like a bad stripper that just leaves trails of it everywhere she goes?
No, she has control over the glitter because actually in the city of Gondora, glitter-dites are, like I said, they're not light. And so their glitter is actually like an arrestable offense to leave behind glitter. So... but in book 2, there's actually a glitter-dite coffee shop where all of the food, all of the coffee has glitter in it.
Okay. And you are saying glitter-dite, right? D-I-T-E?
Glitter-dite, yeah.
Okay.
Glitter-dite, yeah.
My hearing has issues, and I thought you were, and I just wanted to make sure I heard you properly. So I have to change because my brain is taking me in 8 different directions right now. And apparently gin and tea, while not a terrible combination separately, kind of lets the alcohol hit you a little faster than other times. You make your own sourdough.
I do.
How often do you feed your starter?
Every day.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Do you keep it on the counter or in the fridge?
Counter.
Okay.
He's actually never been in the fridge because of the science behind it, that it actually affects the starter, even putting it in the fridge once.
It does not. We keep our starter in the fridge and feed it about once a week.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that.
Yeah.
It still changes the way the starter behaves long term.
Oh, it changes the way the starter behaves, but if you take it out, like when you're doing a final feeding before making dough, it'll reactivate and get really
I don't do that.
Yeah.
I do not feed Freddie Mercury before I make it. I make sure I feed him the night before, and then I use a hungry starter to make my loaf.
Yeah. Yeah, but you have to.
Most people do at least a 1-to-1 feed before they make the actual loaf.
Oh, and you're just using the hungry starter instead of a fed starter to make the loaf.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll do like a 1-to-1 feed at night, and then like 12 hours later, I'll use that starter unfed.
Okay. See, yeah, no, we tried doing the feeding every day and just realized how much flour we were going through.
Yeah.
And then how much discard we had, and we can only eat so many pancakes and English muffins and tortillas. Yeah. And even if you freeze them, then you're just going to have a freezer filled with all this sourdough stuff. And don't get me wrong, it's delicious, but you can only have so many sourdough bagels and bread loaves and, all the other shit in your freezer before you're just like, I need to find another way. So we started just putting it in the fridge and feeding it once in a while. Ours is called Marge. I don't know why, but she named it Marge. But I like Freddie Mercury. That's kind of nice. There's a lot of good punny starter names out there. So
I wish I haven't done like Breadward Colon because I'm like an ironic, like I love Twilight, the movies. Like I don't really care about the books. I haven't read the books since they first came out, but the movies, I love them. I'm such a Twilight rat. It's not even funny.
We will skitter past that as you say that. No. What is your favorite thing to make with your sourdough starter?
Pretzels.
Pretzels.
I do it more with the discard. But my family loves it when I make discard pretzels because they taste like just like Auntie Anne's.
Yeah.
Without, the Auntie Anne prices. And they're not that hard to make. They're time consuming because they have to sit for a few hours. But other than the rising time, like they're so easy to make.
We've done pretzels. I cannot fold a pretzel to get it to look like, the pretzel.
What you do is you just stretch it out and then you loop it.
No. Yeah, you assume I have that sort of like coordination to do that and catch it. It ends up looking like I'm doing cats in the cradle. You know what I'm saying? Like with the rubber bands on your hands. And I just put it down and it becomes a thing. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
Okay, next time maybe, I don't know, FaceTime me and I'll show you how to stretch it out.
We do stretch it out. But then it folds and it doesn't fold right. So we have these pretzels and they taste wonderful, but they look a little special.
You know what I did do? Last time I actually did pretzel buns for hamburgers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretzel buns are phenomenal.
That was really good.
Bagels are good. If you've never made bagels.
Yeah, we did bagels. We've done bagels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I like that. And then the sourdough tortillas are wonderful.
So good, yeah. I've also made Pop-Tarts. I've made discard Cheez-Its.
We tried making that homemade Pop-Tart thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that like viral recipe where like make your homemade cinnamon and sugar Pop-Tart. It did not taste like, I don't know if we did something wrong. It did not taste good. It was
not easy. At the time we had 4 kids in the house. And so I made like the smaller ones. I actually did like a strawberry reduction and like, it was okay. But obviously it'll never compare to like real Pop-Tarts with all of their processed sugar.
Fuck yeah. Do you know what's funny is Pop-Tart brand Pop-Tarts are almost too sweet for me now. I like the Walmart brand brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tarts.
Oh God, those sound so good.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't like a lot of brand name stuff anymore. A lot of it's too sweet or too powerful for me. Give me Sam's Club 0-calorie cola over any Coke or Pepsi Zero. Give me the Sam's Club. Give me Walmart brand stuff. Walmart brand ranch dressing powder, the mix is better than Hidden Valley.
It's probably because like the name brand stuff just puts more shit in it. Like that's just like they have a taste profile they're trying to stick to, but when it's name brand, they aren't beholden to that taste profile.
No, they're beholden to their logo.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very, very different. So you make sourdough, you write books, you also teach yoga.
I do.
How advanced are you? Like, no, I'm not saying how advanced are you as a yoga teacher. What classes do you teach? Like beginner, or are you like advanced yoga class teacher?
So I teach restorative yoga 3 times a week, and I teach beginners yoga and advanced yoga on Saturdays.
When you say restorative, are you talking yin yoga?
No, restorative and yin are same, but different. So I teach a mix of restorative and yin because I teach at a gym and it's not like a studio. So like people want to feel like they're like really getting something that they can feel. So we hold poses on average between 1.5 minutes to 5 minutes. But restorative would be on average 10 to 15, sometimes 20 minutes a pose. But I've got 50 minutes to make these people feel like they got something out of it. But I just kind of call it a facilitated nap time, and people love it. Like they get so much out of it.
And you do it at a gym.
Yeah, I do it at the local gym. Yep.
Very nice.
But I do what I can. Like I lower the blinds. I bring lights. I have little tea lights that I have. Like I try to bring the studio ambiance to the room that's across the basketball court, and you hear the squeakiness of the shoes.
You're like, And let the squeakiness of the shoes wash away
Yeah, I'm
from
like,
your
just be
mind.
mindful. If anything distracts you, just bring it right back to the breath.
Don't pay attention to the pounding of the ball and the guy yelling foul.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no. I love yoga. Like my wife got me into yoga. She was actually a yin yoga teacher, but in Florida, yoga is not something that's looked totally fondly on because it's not freedom enough. And Florida is a great place if you're in the right neighborhood. Florida sucks, folks. People are great. But it's not looked as fondly on, but people who appreciated yoga and understood what yin yoga was appreciated what she did because she taught yin. But she got me into yoga, and it's funny. I can do full lotus and half lotus, no issues whatsoever.
Yeah.
I had to no training, just full lotus all the way down. No, like I've been doing it. Touching my toes took me like 3 months.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those like. Yeah, because like hypermobility, but like my hamstrings were so tight that my hips were fine. Open hips, no issue at all. Lotus, all the way down. But like touching my toes took me like 3 months to be able to like get down there.
I'm hypermobile and my hamstrings will always be tight. I've learned that. And actually, if I push it too far, then I end up having sciatic pain. So I always tell people, like, when we're doing forward folds, I'm like, let your hands land where they want to be today. Like, don't try to force it or anything like that. But that is actually very normal in my experience.
Yeah. It's fun too, being hypermobile, because you never know what's going to hurt when you're done. Because of that, you never know what you're going to overstretch when yesterday you were able to stretch it farther.
Yeah.
It's a fun thing. Did you know, though, that the more they learn about EDS, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, the more they realize that hypermobility doesn't necessarily include the skin stretching that they see in only about 14% of the EDS cases. But hypermobility with ADHD is a sign of Ehlers-Danlos.
Mm-hmm. It's a high comorbidity rate. It's kind of crazy. I have both. Don't be jealous. But I do, I specialize in hypermobility. And so I did an enormous amount of research, which is why I don't do yin yoga, because yin yoga is actually really bad for people that are hypermobile, because all it does is overstretch the fascia and other connective tissue. But that's also why vinyasa yoga will hurt, is because vinyasa is more flow and it puts too much strain on the joints. And if you aren't able to slowly stabilize through the movement, then you're just going to make the tendons do all the work, which is why it hurts later.
All things I did not know, and after drinking, will probably forget in about an hour. So thank you. Thank you for the temporary knowledge you bestowed upon me.
Left.
It's there right now, and it'll come back in the long term, but it's got to embed itself in the long-term memory. So while it's losing itself in the short term, I'll forget. But that's how things go, I think, for certain people, is their short-term memory takes it in, it disappears, and a year later, they're like, oh, I know all these facts, and I don't remember why I know them, but I know them. And when you check them, they're right, and it's because they have no short-term memory. It just embeds into the long-term later on.
Yep.
It's what I do. I drink, and then I know things later.
Remember things eventually.
Yeah, that's what I do. I remember things eventually. That's going to go on a t-shirt. No, but what is if you're hypermobile and you teach this restorative / yin yoga, are you not then doing the poses with them?
I don't do it as much. My busiest yoga day would definitely be Saturdays, because I teach 3 days or 3 classes that day. But the restorative, we don't do the heavier stretching that yin requires. Sometimes we'll do hip days. We'll do half gate child's pose, which is a really deep inner stretch. But for the most part, we still don't hold the poses as long as you would in yin, because with yin, you're still 3 to 5 minutes. But if we're doing big hip openers, I actually don't generally do it for longer than a minute to a minute and a half, because my goal is, I want my practitioners to leave feeling better and healed, And if they don't know that they're hypermobile, I'm not helping them.
Yeah.
So I have to keep in mind, especially at a gym where I have people of all ages and sizes and capabilities, I have to create a class that is built towards as many of those people as possible. But that's why I'm able to have, like, I have postpartum women that come in. I have plus size individuals that come in, and like they're able to approach it with a lot of there's a lot of inclusivity that I include or offer because we use a lot of different props and we move things through it slowly. And then I judge each class. Like if I know every student, then we'll up it a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
But if there's a lot of new people, then I kind of go back to the basics, you know. Focus more on breath work. Every day is different. I keep it as different as possible.
So I want to bring it back to the books for a second. Why do you not have like the satyrs or the gargoyles doing yoga in your world? Where's the yoga teacher romance?
That's a great question, and don't worry, I've got time. Okay, that is something I've considered because I'm sure there's got to be yoga teacher romances out there, right? Like I don't know, but I do plan on. I'm not exactly sure which book I'll do it in, but I know for sure I am going to write an FMC with Eller Stanlos. I am going to have that representation in it. Very much like, you know, Rebecca Yarros with Fourth Wing. People can shit on that book all they want, but that actually led me to my diagnosis because I remember reading about Violet and going, I feel like my body would act the same exact way if I was riding a dragon because I've been a horseback rider since I was 14 and my body would always like hit this limit of capability. Like I could not develop the muscle required to do like flying lead changes, which is it takes a lot of strength. And I could never understand, like I always had shin pain and like, it was just so bizarre. And so when I was reading that book, I was like, I would absolutely fall off a fucking dragon. Like if my dragon didn't like me as much as Taryn loved Violet, I would be dead.
See, I love horses and I've ridden them before, but they scare me. And it's not because they're large. Like I love going to the zoos and the large animals don't scare me, but horses, something about their eyes scare me. Like they just look a little too human and a little too much like they understand us and they know how evil of a species humans are. And yet somehow they're like, we're going to be nice until they get behind us and I'm just going to kick them and they're going to die. Like I'm just.
It depends on the horse for sure.
So scared of horses.
Like ridden and being around some mean horses, but 99% of those horses are mean because of people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially, I did get to see one. I was doing a tour of a prison. No, I was not a prisoner. I was doing some filming there, and we got to see this horse that was a rescue horse and was one of those horses that used to be like addicted to steroids and whatnot. And so he had like a biting issue.
Cribbing.
Where he would, yeah, thank you. To non-horse people, we just call it a biting issue. And
that makes it sound like they bite people. I mean, some horses might try to crib on you if they're stressed enough, but for the most part, they don't crib on people.
No, it was biting on a thing in the little stall in the stable. But it was sad. It was sad, but it was they were trying to do what they could to help it. No. Okay, so we're running out of time, and I want to ask a few things. First two books in the Skies of Avalon are out. Third book comes out when?
September
of 2026. September 18th. Ooh, there's a cat that just entered the room or left. I just saw the door open.
Oh, there he is. Yep.
And where can people find you, find your books, follow you? Give us a whole shameless self-promotion.
Yeah, so I've got my Instagram, which I'm very active on. I have my TikTok that I'm going to try to be more active on. I'm also active on Threads. You can see my random rantings and thoughts on Threads. I also have my website that I worked really hard on. I've got that. You can buy my books in various indie stores. You can buy them online at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And I also sell direct signed copies with swag. And then I'm always looking for signing opportunities to sell because I love selling in person. I love meeting the readers.
In-person selling is the best. For anyone listening and not watching, the @ for all those social medias is @ Jenna Avery Author, except on TikTok, which has some underscores in between the Jenna Avery and author, or it's author Jenna Avery. I can't remember right now.
I think it's Jenna Avery Author for both.
Jenna
just
Avery,
the underscores on TikTok. Yeah.
Just with the underscores on TikTok. That is fine. Let me see that. Yes, it is the Jenna Avery Author with the underscores on TikToks. I had to pull up email and then my ADD got distracted. So I apologize about that, folks, and to you especially, because I shouldn't have done that. But I want to make sure that people can find you. Wonderful worlds that you've created, very relatable, realistic, and more modern style fantasy worlds instead of these, medieval style fantasy worlds and stuff, which is a very kind of different take on the fantasy worlds and stuff, especially when you have as many creatures and species and whatnot as you have. So I can appreciate that. So one last question I'd like to ask everyone. If you had one piece of writing advice you can give to an aspiring author, what would that be?
It is normal for it to be hard.
We're talking about writing, folks. Don't let your mind go elsewhere.
It's also normal for it to be hard, but it is normal for the
I have to stand up and talk. Yeah.
I think a lot of people they see like these it's almost like a fantasy online. You see these wins and people are like, oh, I wrote this many words on this day, this hour, this minute. And really writing is a very difficult process. Like I am in the pit of hell's starting first drafts. Like it is very, very difficult to get started. Some scenes are going to be very difficult. The publishing process is difficult. Marketing is difficult. I'm not saying this to deter anybody, but also there needs to be realism, realistic expectations, and understanding that you will only succeed, you will only complete the manuscript if you persevere through the difficulty. And so just know that the difficulty is literally a part of it. Which is why there's a lot of AI, is because people are fucking babies and they don't want to deal with the difficult.
So you heard it here, folks. Don't be a baby and use AI. Be a real human being and an adult and write the damn thing yourself instead of relying on that. Take that for what you will.
Well, yeah, where's the true sense of completion if you cheated and used a robot?
Oh, but some people don't care about that anymore. They just want the end result.
Those are not people. Those are clanker kissers.
Clanker. Wow. Go Google that, everyone, and make sure to hit the image searching. Author of The Skies of Avalon series, newest book coming out September 18th of 2026. Jenna Avery, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I had a blast, and I hope you did as well. And for everyone listening, like, follow, share, make us all famous, find us some sponsors so we can just do this full time. And until next time, remember, it costs nothing to be kind. See you then. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Drinking with Authors. Join us next time for another fun conversation with an author over drinks.